Marge, if we can begin with your full name and where and when were you born?
Marjorie Matthews, Muskegon, Michigan.
Can you speak a little louder?
Marjorie Matthews, Muskegon, Michigan.
And you're not telling me how old you are. What date were you born?
Oh, I was born in 1922, and when I was a year old, my family moved to North Muskegon.
Okay. What did your father do?
He had a tea company in Muskegon for many years. Then as he retired, he just worked in front of the North Muskegon High School in the grounds there, just for, in his older age.
Where did you grow up? I mean, I knew you grew up in Muskegon. But,
North Muskegon.
Right, but where? Was there a house or was it an
apartment?
It was
in a house on top of the hill, the other side of the causeway.
Okay. And did you have siblings?
Yes, I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Okay.
All older than me.
Okay. And what was your early schooling like?
Oh, it was a wonderful school to go to. We seemed to do everything. Our history teacher would take us into the gym and we'd learn the Big Apple and those kind of dances. And I played, 5 years of basketball.
Oh.
And we used to ride on the buses with the fellows, the team, the fellows team, to Montague and Whitehall and play with them, It was nice. We had a lot of fun.
Were there any subjects that you particularly liked? Were you into math or history or?
I really liked journalism. That's what I was into. But nothing to do with math.
So when you entered into high school, were you aware of what was going on in the world, that there were things happening in Europe and happening in Asia?
Not that much. It was real surprising that we didn't know more, because Hitler just, popped up on us.
Did your family have a radio?
Yes, we did.
Okay. So how did you first hear about the bombing of Pearl Harbor?
Oh, that I can't remember.
Okay. But you do remember that it happened?
Oh, definitely.
Do you recall what the reaction was amongst your family about that?
Well, my oldest brother couldn't go into the service because he was older. But my brother Bob, he was, 3 years older than I am. And he went in, and he went over, over into England and then some other place, Africa he was. But he could not take the war, so they sent him back to Battle Creek. And then after that, he got better. But it was too much for him. He was an artist. And he sang in the Cosmopolitan group in Muskegon, and he made beautiful pictures. Of course, they're all gone, but my sister and I know.
So once the war began, were you would have been in your 20s, right? You were because you were born in 22?
Yes, yeah,
so
20.
22, so wait a minute, so 32, 42, you would have been about 20-something.
Okay. Yes.
So did you notice anything about Muskegon itself? The war happened and your family obviously was affected, but did you notice anything in terms of how Muskegon reacted?
Well, I was living in Muskegon and working at Seal Power. I worked there for 13 years in the office, and when we'd get up in the morning, we'd hear the newspaper boys coming around. And I wasn't far from downtown, so they'd come up as far as our house, and we'd have the news that way, because otherwise you wouldn't get it. Excuse me.
The news in the very beginning wasn't very good.
No, no, it wasn't.
What was did you get any sense of the reaction of the people that you were with? I mean, America did not win right away. We lost the Philippines. We lost a lot of...
There's a lot of that history that has slipped from me, but we just remember, you know, what we had to go through here, like making your own butter, and you had to have coupons for nylons and cigarettes and gas for your car. Many things were rationed, you know.
If you could, how did you go about getting those rations?
Oh, we had a special place assigned in your area where you would go. Possibly I can't remember. I think it was the post office.
So you would go and wait in line, or as a family, or did you have to go and...
Oh, no, I lived with some girls here in Muskegon. I didn't live in North Muskegon then. And so we'd go alone, you know, and get our rations.
So, for example, if you ran on your nylon, then you'd have to go and wait in line or something to get a ration for it, or...
Yeah, you wouldn't get one right away.
Oh.
You got just so many.
But you say you had to make your own butter?
Yes. They would give you oleo in a little tablet, and you mixed the tablet with the butter. But you had to get them soft, you know. That was your butter. We didn't get butter. They sent the butter to the boys.
What other things did you have to make do with that were sent off to the boys, as you put it?
Oh, I really can't.
Did you drink coffee?
Coffee was another thing that was rationed. Mm-hmm. And
'cause I can't function in the morning without my coffee, even when I was 20 years old. My mother used to tell me that they used to get coffee with chicory, mixed with chicory. No?
I've never tasted that.
Okay, all right. So you had a ration for coffee.
I really had more tea back then. It was easier to get.
Okay. And did you feel a need yourself to be part of the war effort? You were
Yes.
You were working for this company, but what made you decide that you wanted to do something more than just work for that company?
Well, when it started, most people wanted to get into something. I mean, you know, it was such a shock. What can you do? And so I got into the Red Cross, and I loved it.
Well, how? How did you find out about it?
That I don't know. I can't remember that.
Okay. So the Red Cross obviously had an office in Muskegon.
That was, no, not an office. It was the Hackley House. And we had our meetings upstairs in the garage behind there. And we met once a week. And we would go down to the park. It was just a block away and do our marching. We had uniforms. It was a dress. We wore nylons, and we changed tires in nylons, and I wore heels. I didn't have flat heels.
Let's go back to the very beginning of your being involved with the Red Cross. Muskegon is a fairly small town, or at least it was back then. Did you join up with friends of yours, or did you join...
Yes, one of the girls from Seal Power and I decided we'd go down and do it.
Okay. So do you remember what the procedure was for joining? I mean, you walk in and you just said, here, I want to work for the Red Cross. What was...
Well, we knew that they had the motor car. That's what we wanted to get into. See, we had our regular panel truck and a station wagon, and we delivered blood to the hospitals and magazines. We used to go down to Battle Creek and take magazines to the boys, and I was able to see my brother there at the time, which was just great. And he knew me. He was fine. You know, it was just that he couldn't live on his own then. And
so you and your friend went in, and you decided to join the motor corps.
mm-hmm.
What was the process of training that you went through?
Oh, we took a test that the Red Cross gives you, and you have to know how to change a tire.
How'd you learn how to change a tire?
That was very easy. You just stood out there in your high heels and nylons and did it. We had a hat with gloves. Uniform was below the knees, and most of the girls had flat shoes, but not me. I had high heels. And let's see.
Well, you already knew how to fix a tire by that time, or did they train you on how to do it?
Oh, they had somebody there training us.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at, is the training.
All
part.
the time.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm trying to think of her name. She lived in North Muskegon, but I can't think of her name offhand.
That's all right. Well, try to give us an idea of what the training was like, because I can't fix a tire myself, okay?
Oh, I couldn't tell you now. I couldn't even do it. I couldn't do it.
But you went in there with your friend, and you took a test.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the next step? They said, okay, you're going to learn how to do fixing tires. What else did you have to do that they were going to train you for?
Well, we had to be sure that we could drive well. One time, there was a sailor in Grand Haven that had to go to the Naval Hospital in Chicago. So this other girl and I drove to Chicago, and then a police escort took us to the naval station there. She drove in Chicago. I didn't want to, as you can imagine. And we had the big panel truck, and he was in the back with a nurse or someone. I never did see him. He was.
Now, previous to your joining the motor corps, had you driven a car before?
Oh yes, I had a car at the time.
Oh.
Yes,
Okay.
I had my own car.
You had, because you were working, you had enough money to buy your own car.
Oh yes.
Okay, so you had a driver's license. You were able to drive.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that was, I imagine, one of the requirements.
Well, yes, it had to be.
Yeah.
That's all we did.
Okay. So in addition to the test that you took, and you already knew how to drive a car, they taught you how to fix a tire. What else did you have to learn to become a Red Cross Motor Corps?
I don't know. We just had meetings. I can't even remember what we did at the meetings.
Okay.
But I remember they'd line us up and take us down to the Hackley Park, and we'd march. Mm-hmm. That had something to do with probably the war.
Mm-hmm. You marched in high heels?
Yes. I didn't even have low-heeled shoes. I sat on a switchboard at CO Power and walk in, sit down.
Yeah.
That was the time of life. I had just gotten out of high school.
So when you first worked for the Motor Corps, what were some of the things that you were required to do? You already said you went to Chicago once, but what were some of the daily routines that you had to go through?
Well, we didn't have daily routines because I was working in the days. We would go at night after work. That was when we had our meetings, because they had to get people that were working. Everybody was working. The fellas were gone.
So Muskegon was mostly older people, children, and women. A lot of the men were gone.
Oh, a lot of fellas were gone from Muskegon. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So the nighttime then was a Monday through Friday, or was it all through the week that you had to go to the Hackley house?
I think we went on Saturdays too, because that was, when people didn't work.
Mm-hmm. And then Sundays were for church, or?
Well, yes, I don't remember going on Sundays.
Okay. Okay. Do you recall going to church on Sundays during this period?
Part of the time. I moved around different places in town, and didn't go to any special one then.
Did you have a radio at home?
Yes, we had a little radio.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of thing? Because I grew up in the radio age. I didn't have television until I was a teenager, so I know what it's like, how important it was to tune in. What were some of the shows that you liked to listen to? Do you remember?
Oh, it's hard to remember. I can get them in my mind, but I can't bring them up.
Okay, sure.
It's hard to do.
But there were USO shows. There were Bob Hope and
that was one of them.
Jack Benny.
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay. Jack Benny, who is still 39 years old today, right?
That's right.
But was the radio one of your forms of entertainment?
Well, in movies, of course.
So tell us about
There was a lot on the movies because they kept telling us what was going on. So you'd go and you'd see lots of times that these actors would be overseas and you'd hear about them, see them.
So you would go to the movies, and then before the actual movie started, they would have the movie tone news. They would have the what's going on in the world.
That's right.
Okay.
That's where you get a lot of it.
Were there any news stories in particular that stand out to you that you may recall?
No, not right offhand.
But they were covering things that were going on in Germany and in Europe.
Yes.
Do you recall at all the fall of Paris, when Paris was, when the Nazis took over Paris?
Not offhand, exactly when it was.
Oh no, I'm not saying
much,
that. I'm not saying when, but do you recall any stories that stick out to you?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, there were so many of them all the time that it's hard to remember them.
Sure.
The whole, of course, my husband was in the service. He was in charge of the ship, 12 trips across from England. He was in charge of the troops that were in the ships. He was a captain in the Army. So I used to get something from him, but, none of them talked too much. And his brother was in the Air Corps, and they met one night when my husband was coming home. And the next day he was shot down over the Zuider Zee. He was one of those that the planes are still in there, and they're still finding those fellows in the Zuider Zee in Holland. He still could be found. He was never found.
Getting back to the movies, do you remember any movies in particular that you liked?
Too far back.
Okay. Now, I assume that your husband and your family members received letters, and you got letters too, right? Did you write letters to your husband?
Oh, I wasn't married to him.
Oh, okay.
When he was in the service.
Oh, okay. But your relative, your brother was in the service. Did your family get letters from him?
Yes, we used to get them from him.
Okay.
But then when he got to Battle Creek, we didn't hear from him.
Right.
Not until he got better, but he used to come to Muskegon and stay with me.
Okay. Do you mind my asking about what happened to him? I mean, what he was sent back, but
well, he couldn't stand the fighting. He couldn't stand it. He couldn't stand to see anyone killed. People that are artists can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
So he had a sort of a breakdown or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what he had.
Okay. And so they sent him back home, but they sent him to Battle Creek to
yes.
the hospital there, right?
Oh, yeah, because he wasn't in good shape when he came home. But he was there for probably 3-4 years before he was,
Well, you said you used to go and visit him, and he recognized you. But what were those meetings like when you went to see him?
Oh, he was just glad to see me. He recognized me, but he didn't say much. He was quite quiet.
You, of course, you grew up with him. So as a child, you felt he was very sensitive.
Oh yeah, he was different in our family. He was altogether different, than all the rest of us.
What was your family's reaction to his coming back in that state?
Well, my family wasn't in Michigan. My sister was out west. My other sister was out west. My father was in town. He was the only one.
And what was he worried about his son? I mean,
Oh, definitely.
okay, but
Yeah.
he wasn't upset at him. He was just.
Well, there wasn't anything you could do. You just had to wait till see what would happen, and he did get better. That he could go out on his own, but not. He couldn't get a job. He was in a home where there were other fellas.
Yeah.
But that was sad.
Yeah. But he did get better, as you said.
Yes.
He did get better.
Yes, he was better. He used to come alone and on the bus and see me.
Did he eventually go on to become an artist?
No, he worked at Hardy Herpelsheimer's in Muskegon and did their window work and anything they had to be done in artwork.
Okay. So as the war progressed, was your job pretty much driving people here and there? And
Well, it was around town, yes. We did. That was the only one trip out of town that I took to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure they had more of them. There were other girls that may have taken them I don't know about.
Yeah, you showed me the picture of the other girls that were they did the same thing as you, right? That
Yes,
whole
we
line.
all did the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you have much interaction with them in terms
No.
of? Okay.
They just would come down. They were different. I mean, different jobs, and some were married, some had children. And I was not married, of course, at that time.
Now, your friend that you joined with, but you both still were working in the same company, so you must have interacted with each other. And
Yes, we
go.
did.
Okay.
Well, she worked at Seal Power in
Yeah.
the same place I did.
Yeah. Do you recall what you used to talk about? Were there things that you used to talk about? Either going to the cross or after you came back from there or at work?
No, I can't. That I have no idea what I talked about.
Didn't discuss boys or movies or anything like that?
Oh, I'm sure they weren't around that much. Very few of them were around. We used to go down on Western Avenue, and of course, they had a candy shop down there, and everybody went in there, and it was a whole different ball game back then.
You mean in terms of
Yeah,
social life?
social life.
Yeah. Were there dances?
No, we didn't have any dances. Not that I remember.
Okay. So as the war progressed, did you get any sense either from when you went to the movies or on the radio or on the newspaper that things were changing, that we were finally winning the war?
No. We just waited to hear the news and see what it would be, because it just popped up here and there, like Hawaii and, Japan getting in, and it was one thing after another. It was a tragic time.
Yeah. Were there any soldiers besides your brother? Did you have any interaction with soldiers that came back from before the war ended? Because you're taking people to the Battle Creek, right? To the hospital there. Right? That was one of the things that you did, right? You drove to Battle Creek?
Oh, to take magazines and stuff. We didn't take people.
Oh, okay.
No, we weren't in charge of that.
Okay.
But if anybody needed a ride, we were, a Red Cross does everything. So you can't really pin it down.
So who were some of the people that you were bringing magazines to? There were soldiers that were there?
Oh, they were the soldiers that were brought to Battle Creek from the war. It was a big place for Michigan. All the fellows from Michigan went to Battle Creek. It was a big hospital, still is,
Were there any of your friends from high school or anything that ended up at the Battle Creek Hospital?
Not that I remember back then. A lot of them died, were killed in the war in my class. I'd say about 5 anyway.
Yeah. So, do you remember when the Nazis fell, when VE Day? Because I know you remember VJ Day, but do you remember VE Day?
Not offhand.
Okay.
That all escapes me now.
Okay. All right. Without asking what day or what time or anything like that, do you remember when you first heard about VJ Day?
Yes. Well, it must have been announced. I didn't live far from downtown, and we just raced downtown, and I have pictures of it now, standing in front of our Occidental Hotel, running into people that I knew, and that was it. And of course, it was a great celebration then. I mean, in the streets.
Mm-hmm. We're trying to give us an idea because you were there. We don't have a picture. You have a picture, but I want to get a picture for the video.
Uh-huh.
When you arrived downtown, you say you ran into people that you knew and all that. We're talking. This is a huge crowd. Everybody.
Oh, the avenue was full of people, and people were just happy. You know, for once you could celebrate something after all these years fighting. Yeah, it was enormous.
Was it noisy?
Oh, yes. The pictures that I have are right across the Michigan Theater. And that, of course, Fruenthal now was the Michigan back then.
So that, I know that street. You're saying that whole street in front of that theater was just packed with people?
Western Avenue, yes.
And people were doing what? What were they doing?
Talking. Happy.
Well, we see the famous picture in downtown New York of the sailor kissing the girl. Was there any hugging and all that kind of stuff going on, or just people just standing around talking?
I'm sure there was. I was just in that one spot where I had these pictures taken, and I ran into people that I knew from Seal Power on the street already. Of course, there were bars along there. We must have had 1, 2, 3 bars. Those bars used to be full, you know, and they'd come out in the street, and it was a great time at the time.
So once the initial celebration was over with, you then went back home?
Oh,
that day, I mean, on VJ Day, you just went back
yes.
home?
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
And then the next day you went to work, or what happened?
Oh, I could not tell you.
Okay.
It's too far back.
Okay. All right. So, can you give us an idea of how things were different after VJ Day? You say that before you had to make your own butter, there was rationing. Can you remember any of the things that were different?
It took a while before they straightened that out, because there was a lot of work that had to be done. Mm-hmm. But we could go back to getting, but we made sure that all the fellows, even coming back, had first choice.
So how long after VJ Day did you remain a volunteer with the Motor Corps?
I think I quit shortly after that. I couldn't give you a date because I can't remember that. But I know it was those 3 years for sure.
And what did you have to do with your uniform? Did you get a chance to keep it, or did you have to give it back?
No, I must have given it back. I never remember keeping it.
Okay. And you wore high heels the whole time?
Yes. Oh, I had beautiful shoes. I used to go to Chicago, buy these gorgeous shoes. I'd fly over to Chicago. Nothing to do, you know. So you go to the big city.
Well, they probably had bigger movie theaters and stuff too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to interrupt for a moment. Jim, can you think of...
She just said she was flying to Chicago.
Did you say you were flying to Chicago? No, driving, right?
No, I flew.
Oh, you flew?
This is on my own. This was not with the Red Cross.
Oh, okay.
No. My time at that time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, I was through. It was just things that I did during those years.
Oh, okay. You had your friend from work, but did you have other friends during that period of time, or was it pretty much
yes,
work? Okay.
A lot of them in Seal Power. Seal Power and Continental had the most girls. Like we had probably 200 to 250 girls working at Seal Power. Mm-hmm. It was a wonderful, wonderful place to work. And they gave us a party at the hotel, and we all had to make hats, some kind of hats. So the other girl and I put on, made a hat with the switchboard on my hat. My hat was huge, and we had her attached to mine, and she had the station. So we ended up winning the prize, the two of us. They had to give us 2 beautiful nylon slips instead of 1 prize. That was a great time. But Seal Power was just great, Gia.
What did Seal Power do?
Piston rings.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And your job there was to do what?
I was a switchboard operator.
Okay.
I liked the job because every day you met people, and that's what I liked about it.
Met them over the...
No. Oh, yet I could remember their voice, like people that would call in and have to talk, you know. I would recognize their voice. Well, I was there so long, 13 years.
Yeah. So, going back to the period of the 3 years, while you were working there, what was your social life during that period of time? You said you didn't go dancing or anything, but
we used to go dancing. Yeah, at Fruitport. Do you know we had the big bands come to Fruitport? All the big ones that you can remember back then.
Did you see Glenn Miller?
We used to dance to those out at Fruitport. They were wonderful. Pardon?
The Glenn Miller Band?
Oh, yes. All of them were here. In fact, when I got married, the Glenn Miller Band came to, my husband worked at Continental, and Continental had a big party, and Glenn Miller Band came, but it was not him. He had already died. Yeah.
So you did have dances and...
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We used to go to the dances.
Now, I want to let you know in advance that my mom and my dad knew all the dances. So any particular ones that you like to do? The Lindy or...
No, that was before my time. I'm not quite with that one. That was in the early 20s, and that's when I was born in 22.
Right. Well, what kind of dance? I can tell you the dances I did when I was a teenager. What were you dancing to? What kind of dances?
Oh, my goodness. We did so many different ones. I can't tell you.
That's okay.
Can't even think of them.
Yeah.
You just got up and you followed him.
So, looking back on that period of your life, what are your thoughts in terms of that period? How does that fit into your whole life?
Well, it gave me something to do besides just go to work every day, and it was always something to think about. You didn't sit home and read. I never read a book. You didn't have time. It was a fast life when it came to the war and all the things that happened, because you never knew what was going to happen.
I always ask the veterans, and you certainly are a veteran, whether you realize it or not. They all felt that a lot of different veterans feel like they only did a small part of the whole effort, but I always remind them that they were an important part. How do you feel you did a part in the effort with the war?
I did it, like you say, a small part. But it took all the small parts to help it out. Mm-hmm.
I think that is the great statement right there. It was a small part, but it took all the small parts.
Yeah, it's so long ago when you stop and think. But things, of course, come back to you at different times. But if you're asked, it's hard to pick them up right away.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you felt like, I think I get the impression you felt like it wasn't, you were a small part, but you were part of a whole bunch of other people that were a small
That's
part.
right.
And that was Muskegon.
Muskegon. I was on the switchboard when Roosevelt died. I can remember that so plain.
And I know this is going to sound like a really stupid question, but what was your reaction to that?
Oh, it was, well, the board went crazy for one thing. Everybody heard it, all at the same time. And we knew he wasn't well, but to have a president die was something. And most people liked him. Of course, he had his people that didn't. But
another big event that was a secret was the dropping of the atomic bomb.
Right.
Do you remember that at all?
I remember it, but I don't remember the horror at the time. When you think of it now, it was just awful. But we had to do something. We could go on with all these wars with Japan and Germany. And you didn't agree with it, but it stopped it.
So on the switchboard, you were able to hear about Roosevelt. Were there any other things that you heard through the switchboard that stick out?
Not offhand. That one really hit me.
Okay.
It was, of course, like I say, we knew he was ill, but to have a president, and he was well liked.
Yeah, my father spoke very, very highly of him.
Mm-hmm.
My father was in the Navy. Given your experience with that particular period of time, I know from my own family, my own father, my own mother, that it had a profound effect on how they lived the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that your experience in the war in many ways shaped who you are?
I'm sure it must have. I don't know how, but that was a different kind of a life you never thought you'd live.
If you had, well, you do have the opportunity now to tell your younger members of your family about that fortunately are not going through what you had to go through. You have grandchildren?
Yes, I just had a great-grandchild, too.
Okay. Well, hopefully they will never have to go through the kind of experience that you went through. Is there something that you'd like to say to them about the experience that you went through?
Well, I wasn't in the fighting myself, but it was a hard thing. And we just hope we don't have to go through another one like that for so long.
Well, Marge, I want to thank you very, very much for sitting down with us.
Well, I hope I said something.
You've said some really wonderful things. Yeah, some really wonderful things. And I appreciate you digging back into the the memory cells there to try to bring something out. But I'm also glad you got a chance to say something to your great grandchild too.
You know, Jackie's my granddaughter. Yeah,
Wonderful.
she's, of course, their granddaughters and grandsons are great. You don't have to take care of them at night.
So, to finish off here, your great grandchild will hopefully grow up and have children, and maybe your family will continue on. Anything you want to say to them?
Oh, I just hope that they do not have to go through wars.
Well, good.
What a terrible thing.
Yeah. Well, good. Jim? Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.